Hey Holly, Grant Putnam here, Putnam Landscaping. Just wanted to quickly go through the maintenance proposal with you so you both can understand it. Alright, so as we're going through here, the first section is in regards to basic lawn maintenance. So that's your lawn cutting, your spring cleanup, your fall cleanup. Alright, when we're doing the lawn cutting, the way we're differentiating ourselves is we're vacuuming the clippings. All right, and there's going to be a list of items here. There's a reason why vacuuming the clippings makes more sense for most clients that have an irrigation system. So that's $70 per cut, typically 30 weeks in a year, so it's $2,100 for the lawn cutting. All right, and again, most companies disperse the clippings. Most companies do not collect the clippings. All right, don't vacuum the clippings when they're cutting the lawn. So then spring cleanup. So that basically includes a thorough cleanup of all the beds in your property. One thing I want to note is from a maintenance perspective in your property, I have everything within the fenced area and along here, not beyond the fence between the street and the fence. I did not think about looking at that area, but if you have more mulch or if you have more maintenance that's required in this area, then I would have to revise my quote. Okay. So that's the spring cleanup. We're going to have to haul all the debris off the property. In the fall cleanup, we do it every week during the fall that we're cutting the grass. We're also doing the fall cleanup. All right, so a lot of companies, again, only will do it, say, once or twice. Or the other thing is they'll cut the lawn and they'll cut the leaves into a million pieces and work that into the lawn. What that does is it suffocates your grass. So it takes us, again, a little bit longer, but you get better results and a healthier lawn if it's done consistently every week, and also the leaves are not left on the lawn chopped up into a million pieces. Okay, and then of course we have to haul the leaves off the property, so there's a charge associated with that. Shrub trim and weeding. This is more of a specialty service. Unless you're a design build firm, you're not going to know the names of the plants and how to properly take care of them. That's why I made a point to identify a lot of the plant material you had in your property. We train our guys to trim each plant, depending on the variety of the plant, at the correct time of the year with the proper tools. We sanitize the tools between houses, so we limit carrying one disease from one house to the next, such as like boxwoods or spruce. They both have some common diseases that can be transferred via pruning tools, so we're careful about that. This past year was a big issue with that because of the humidity, so there's a lot of disease and a lot of fungus, and it really helped us compared to our competitors in regards to protecting the investment of the clients. Okay. That being said, you could still end up getting a disease, but it limits the chances of getting the disease. Okay, so we approach the gardening or the shrub trimming pruning service as a monthly service. All right, this way we can hit all the correct time periods throughout the year. So that's typically end of May, early June through October. All right, and then we also have a separate crew that pulls the weeds once a month on a very timely basis. I would say that's one of the biggest things that smaller companies have issues with, is they can't get to do the service on time. So for example, they're pulling the weeds every 6 to 7 weeks. Then by that point the weeds are already a foot high, and of course makes the property look terrible. So we track every employee's activity via their cell phone. So we have an application that tracks where they are on every house and what task they're doing. So this way, number one, we don't miss any services. So that's all kept track of electronically. And we know where everyone is working all the time. So we have accountability as far as making sure that all the services are done. All right. We also send a property manager to walk the property 4 times during the season. So this way there might be certain things that perhaps the crews don't notice, but a really experienced manager would be able to point out and also give you suggestions for improvements or something to try to prevent future problems. So it's more of an insurance policy, with that service. Okay. So there's 12 visits, 6 gardening, which is basically 6 pruning or trimming shrubs, and then 6 weeding. Okay, so that's what that service entails. Spring mulching, pretty straightforward. Anywhere you have existing mulch beds within the fenced area of the property, as we spoke about, that's what I'm calculating for mulch. Early spring, we would end up having to trim down the perennials. Like, for example, we typically actually trim a lot of the perennials in the fall, but some of them we leave until the spring. So again, you'll trim back some of the perennials, some of the grasses that you opt not to trim back in the fall. Clean the beds, pull any weeds, so that's all the mulch preparation. And then we budget, in your scenario, I'd say we budget 4 hours towards edging the beds. Okay. Deer rabbit repellent, so that's exactly what it sounds. So you got different animals that are going to try to eat your plants. So if you don't spray, they typically get eaten and damaged. So I would advise doing that. Okay. Tie boxwoods. I mentioned this in the other video. Your boxwoods along your front walkway all are damaged because the snow fell off the roof and they weren't tied properly. So right now, I don't think you need that service because the ones that are there are going to eventually have to be removed and ripped out. But I would say going forward, once you revamp the front yard and possibly add new plantings or new evergreens, new boxwoods along the front foundation, you're going to want to protect that investment and tie them properly with jute erosion. It's like a jute string. It's a very soft string, better than burlap because burlap's very ugly to look at all winter. This kind of blends in with the same color as a leaf, and it's not very noticeable. And it protects the plants from getting crushed. Boxwoods are expensive investments as far as shrubs go, so you want to protect it. Tree pruning between 12 and 30 feet. So that's, again, was mentioned in the other video. We can give you a price on that as well if you would like. I can give you a quote. Window cleaning, some clients want that. Power washing, same concept. If I didn't look at this carefully when I was there, I didn't think about this, but if and I think your patios are relatively new, so you could power wash them and not have to worry about pulling up any of the cement joints. But on some of the older patios and walkways where the cement joints are cracked and are loose, then obviously a power washer is going to pull those up. So we always mention that, but I don't think that's going to apply to your house. But again, that's something that we offer as a service. Gutter cleaning. Then the plant and tree health care. So you've got your hemlock trees, which are on the property, and you've got boxwood. All right, both of those get common insect issues. So hemlocks get hemlock woolly adelgid and hemlock scale, 2 most popular insect problems. Very, very common. If you don't treat it, most likely you're going to get the problem, and then the trees look terrible. Boxwoods get leaf miner, and they also get scale. Those are the 2 most popular things. That's what that treatment is for. So pretty much every property we have, we end up doing that application to protect that tree and those plants that are, again, very expensive to replace. Summer horticulture oil and fall horticulture oil. It's basically the most environmentally friendly way to smother and kill any insect populations on your shrubs and trees. So it's a standard practice amongst arborists, and it's the best way to try to, again, prevent some damage from common insects. It's not going to prevent against Japanese beetle. All right, Japanese beetle, the only way you can prevent that is you have to spray every single week from middle of June through end of September. So most people don't opt to do that, or if they do it themselves. That will leave these little holes in the leaves of some of the soft tissue plants in your property. All right, but very rarely do I have a client complain about that, but I always want to point that out when when I'm doing an overview of a quote like this. Fall deep root feeding. So we have a big, huge tank truck with high volume high pressure hose, and we use a deep root needle, and roughly every 3 feet around the entire property, around all the shrubs, all the ornamental trees, your evergreen trees, we end up pumping fertilizer directly into the root zone. So it's something a lot of clients do. It's just like humans. If you give them good food and you take care of them health-wise, then you're going to have less health issues. So same thing, it makes everything looks better, makes everything grow more vibrant, the color is better, and you typically can avoid some health issues. So that's your fertilizer, and we also typically do a granular fertilizer in the spring. All right, so that's your shrub care. Tick spray, our advantage is we're using a high pressure system. A lot of my competition, so it's like a 1,000-gallon tank on a truck with a 30 horsepower engine. A lot of the competition is using a 5.5 horsepower, 200-gallon tank on the back of a pickup truck. So the amount of volume and pressure you're going to get out of the two different equipment is vastly different. And when you're trying to kill ticks, you're trying to get underneath the leaves and create some turbulence. So then this way you can get good coverage in the area. So again, if you use the proper equipment, you get better coverage. So that's our advantage in regards to tick spray. Okay. Irrigation service. So most irrigation companies only will do a spring opening and make the repairs, and then a winterizing. A lot of them might offer a midsummer inspection, but that's not done on a timely basis, so that's usually just to check for any kind of repairs. So what we do is, more importantly, is we're adjusting the water throughout the season based on the temperatures and how much rain we're getting. All right, and that's very, very important in regards to health of the plants, trees, and the lawn. So if you overwater, underwater, it creates issues. So we're actually very affordable when it comes to doing these adjustments. Whereas if you hired a separate irrigation company to do it, they're going to end up charging you every time they come to do an adjustment. Whereas we're already on the property doing other services, so it ends up being more cost effective. All right, so that's irrigation service. We do, again, everything in here is in-house. Fertilizers, just like a lot of the other companies in the area, we're trying to use the most environmentally friendly mixing organics with the fertilizers. If you're going to fertilize your lawn, you want good results, you have to do a full program. So you have to do all the proper steps, all the applications, core aerating and seeding every year in the fall if you want good results. Part of the reason is you're going to always have weeds that are going to try to take over. You're going to constantly be spot spraying those, and you're going to end up having to replace those little dead spots in the fall with new seed. Plus, typically about 20 to 30% of seed every year, of the lawn every year, dies out. So you have to replace what's dying out. And the best lawns are going to be the lawns that are getting that, again, that core aerating seeding service in the fall. So this lists out all the different services involved with that, and this is like a proven system that we do, again, across the board for all of our clients. Okay. So when it comes to kind of a summary of the different services, you'll notice I have a total service agreement in this column over here, and option 2, a specialty service. So this basically means, look, if you're really happy with your current provider who's cutting your grass and they're doing it affordably, then maybe you stick with them doing that service. Alternatively, if you're not happy, we can offer a full service, and the advantage to that is that basically we're having a higher frequency of visits to the property, so we're able to keep our eyes on the property more frequently, and again avoid some of the health issues that can prop up pretty quickly, such as like a lawn disease or plant and tree health issues, insects, diseases. All right, so again, I broke it down 2 ways for you: option 1, option 2. We try to be upfront with all of our pricing, so this way there's no surprises. And we typically split it up in 10 equal payments, or the other option is you can pay in the beginning of the year for the entire amount, and then you'll get a 4% discount. All right, so So that's it. Recommend calling any of our references on our list, and I appreciate the opportunity. We'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.